Wicked went by way too fast, and yet I felt every second of it. Hear me out. I watched it with my parents. They had absolutely no knowledge of the musical aside from basic cultural osmosis. I wasn't much better. I knew the overall arc of the story as well as everyone knows the basic plot of Wizard of Oz, let's be honest.
An online campaign began in 2007 to try to get this song, Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, to #1 in the charts the week Lady Thatcher died.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
They were very confused and didn't end up liking it that much, which I wasn't expecting. Also, there were kids running around in front of the screen and doing the coughs that kids do when they're trying to, throw up their entire lungs, and I was worried someone was going to stand up and tell the mum to leave and it'd become a whole scene, so I was on the verge of an anxiety attack during the Lion Cub scene, and most of I'm Not That Girl. I do not think I can blame the filmmakers for that one, but it did cover my viewing experience nevertheless. I don't think it was in the top half of the films I saw in 2024 either, but I want to be more charitable, because it did still get some things right. The opening was sufficiently uncomfortable, brought into much sharper relief by the specific casting of a black actress as Elphaba. It makes the racism more obvious, to the point where I was starting to imagine the Munchkins in little red hats and wraparound shades. MAGA stands for Munchkins and Glinda. Awesome! I know it's not the focus, but I like the idea of a secret society of talking animals, especially in an era where the people in power in real life seem determined to roll back all the social progress of the past few decades. I think the scene where Dr. Dillamond gets yanked out of the classroom is probably going to become commonplace in America very soon. It worked as a vessel for how people ignore the mistreatment of minority groups and get prickly with you if you push back on their complacency or complicity. Also, I know it's from the original, but I liked how Galinda renamed herself only to briefly impress other people and make her seem a better, more socially conscious person, and immediately regrets doing it.
Stupid. I don't even know what made me say it.
Elphaba is a leftist and Glinda is a lib. We didn't get enough scenes with Elphaba and Glinda in this. I know there's going to be more coming, of course, but as its own thing, I feel like their relationship progresses way too fast. They go from enemies, with big air quotes, to basic tolerance, to besties going on holiday to green Dubai together.
Take me to Dubai.
I feel like there's some missing connective tissue here. It's not Martha, but I feel like a couple extra conversation scenes would have made their growth as friends more natural. Nessa Rose being in a wheelchair is a huge plot problem, given the change in attitudes, and I'm kind of scared to see what they'll do with it in film 2. From what I've found, they wisely seem to have decided not to do the enchanted silver slippers make her able to walk thing, because they have Marissa Bode. It's pronounced Bodie, you dumb bitch, who is a real-life wheelchair user, and also because it's not a good look to portray someone not being able to walk as some kind of failing that can be cured. But also, it's an extremely integral part of the plot, and I don't know how I would substitute it if it were me. The whole thrust is that once Nessa Rose is able to walk, Bok thinks she doesn't need him anymore and tries to leave. I don't see a path forward that won't get them well-deserved criticism. I saw some people suggesting, well, not everyone who uses a wheelchair is completely unable to walk, and yeah, duh, but it's not going to read that way for the average cinema goer who hasn't swatted up on disability rights. Read The Department by John Pring. Where's that miniseries, ITV? Since that's evidently the only way to make people in this hell country care about anything. I did see some people online saying, well, they'll CGI it. Cynthia Erivo can't fly in real life either.
Suck my fucking dick, dude.
I don't want them to do that. But again, I don't know what they could do. It's a pickle. They milked Defying Gravity for all it was worth. I mean, it's the big song everyone knows, and I was expecting them to. The moment when Elphaba is falling and sees herself as a child in the reflection was the point where it got too silly for me. Not to hate if you got something out of that shot and it was emotional for you, but it didn't work for me. You know what did work? The final shot of Elphaba with the last vocal rung, her cape billowing behind her, storm clouds swirling before the slam into the to be continued was fantastic. You can't help but feel a rush of fuck yeah, because of the sheer bombast and size of the moment. You can't help not getting swept up. And of course that's when most of the audience burst into cheering and applause, which is very strange because Britain doesn't normally do that in a cinema because the film can't hear you. I wonder how it would work as a miniseries. You get time to actually develop and deepen your characters to the degree I think they deserved. It wouldn't feel like Elphaba and Glinda go from enemies to besties in the space of a couple of scenes, and you can pace it more carefully. I wanted to see if my problem was still present in the stage musical and decided to get out the old glue and borax. And oh boy, when I saw the big hat and immediately burst out laughing. Nessa Rose being shielded by benches is a good upgrade for the increased requirement for spectacle that film often has. Something bad shifting settings is good considering I wanted more of the zoophobia plotline. Yeah, alright. I could sit here and list every single, congruity between the stage show and the film, but we'd be here all day. But it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I was wondering whether I was being uncharitable with my specific feelings and was gonna not make this video. Until I saw that deleted scene.
I would have helped you. If you needed someone. Could have picked me.
If your film is over 2.5 hours, full to bursting already, 2 extra minutes isn't gonna hurt that much more. Even that short part would have made Glinda seem less like a Democrat and a lot more sympathetic when taken in total. Trim a bit from the Oz dust, perhaps, if you were working with a hard cap of runtime, which they wouldn't be because this film was guaranteed to make its budget back no matter how many weird media gaps the run-up to it contained. I don't think there's going to be that many opportunities to fix this in the second half either, because most of it's going to be taken up by the superhero origin stories of how everyone will become the characters we all know and love, trademark. Right now I at least feel like it's worth it to watch, even if I feel like it's very flawed. I at least want to watch part 2, even if it isn't for the purest of reasons. Watch it be 5 hours long, kill me. I think it'd be good to maybe, over a longer period, examine Hollywood's strange relationship with musicals from The Greatest Showman onwards. Like Moulin Rouge and Chicago and even Sweeney Todd are looked on as successes, but there's a lot that can be said about musicals during the remake era of Hollywood. Plus, I've never seen Cats. Do you want me to react to Cats?